Pay no attention to the icy driveway.
What's up, fellas? Thanks for tuning in to episode 4 of the Sportster build series, From Mild to Wild. I'm going to let Andrew tell you about what we're doing this week.
Come on, guys. So we just finished up doing the rear chain conversion kit on the Sportster. So we did a 22 tooth in the front, 55 in the rear. And the biggest issue, if any of you guys are going to do one of these, especially if you're running a taller shock in the rear, is the chain is going to run on the rear passenger peg mount. So what I did is I actually took a piece of a chain block out of a CR250 and I drilled it so that it fits in here and it can pivot, but it won't roll over. But that'll keep the chain from rolling and burning up into the metal here and, you know, possibly ruining the chain. You know, we ran the standard grade, grade 8 bolts in the rear, and everything seems to be working good. So we also picked up a Thundermax tuner. So we're gonna pass it on to Justin, Mr. Turbo. He's gonna get it dialed and tuned in perfect.
Hey guys, back for another one, and today we're gonna put a Thundermax ECU into our Sportster 1200 right here, which should allow us to get the air fuel on point, set our rev limiter, and make this bike perfectly what it's supposed to be. You can see in the earlier videos, the bike was puffing black smoke. It really wasn't running that great. We think it has a tune in it already for the previous pipe setup on it, but we're gonna ditch that completely. Go ahead and put our Thundermax ECU in it and see how it runs. All right, yeah, so let's check out that Thundermax ECU. So this is everything that came in the package right here, and it's actually very minimalistic. There really isn't much to this kit. We have a tuning cable right here, which allows us to program our rev limit and also swap between tunes. We're gonna set this up for auto tuning, so the bike is gonna tune itself on the fly using these O2 sensors that come with it. And what this ECU does is it essentially replaces your stock ECU. So we're going to unplug our stock ECU and put this Thundermax unit in it. And it also replaces the factory O2 sensors. So we're going to ditch the factory O2 sensors, put in these new Thundermax ECU sensors, and this is going to read our air-fuel ratio and adjust the bike accordingly to what we set it to. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get this plugged in and see how it runs once we're all done. All right, we got the seat and side cover off already. Now we're going to go ahead and pull the main fuse off the bike. We're just going to do this you're supposed to do this when you unplug the ECU, just for any added assurance. You don't want to send any voltage to the wrong area when it's not absolutely necessary. So we're going to go ahead and pull this main fuse. I already went ahead in there and pulled out each of the O2 sensors on both sides of the exhaust. What we're going to do now is, after we pull that main fuse, we're going to pull this cover off, which is going to expose the ECU. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and pull the stock ECU out, swap in our Thundermax ECU, and then go ahead and plug in this dongle into our Thundermax. And this is actually where your new O2 sensors plug into. But there's an intricate way to route this through the frame, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. Okay, so we went ahead and got our O2 sensor harness routed up by the chain area right here, and it goes actually into our ECU box up here. I'll go to the other side and just show you guys what we're talking about. So now the connector comes out this side, and this is our O2 harness. And what we'll do now is we'll actually screw this into our ECU. So we're going to plug this into the new Thundermax ECU, and it has 2 Phillips screws in the top right here, and we'll just tighten those down. And this is directional. It has a little tab right there. Just make sure you're putting it in the right direction, otherwise you're going to have a hard time. So with our 5/30 seconds Allen, we just went ahead and pulled this cover off. It's just one single bolt right there, and it has tabs where it locks into. But once you pull this bolt off, this cover will just pop off and expose your ECU right here. We're going to pop that out now and replace it with the Thundermax. All right, so before we go any further, we have our 36-pin connector right here. And one thing I failed to realize is this is our port right here behind this tab. Just pop it off. And you can see that's our port to actually tune the ECU. But unfortunately, when this is in the bike, this faces the frame and you won't be able to tune the bike with the ECU in its proper place. So what we actually have to do is pull the cover off this 36-pin ECU, and we're going to pin in our little pigtail connector right here. And this is going to allow us to actually tune the bike remotely. So this is just a USB port. And we just pin this into the back side of the connector, and this will serve the same function as it would on the ECU. And we could relocate this next to the battery, which is going to allow us to have like remote tuning outside of the bike essentially. So we'll start by splitting this connector on the back right here. And this just has tabs that you can pick out with a screwdriver and pop this apart, which unveils the backside. And once you have the backside unveiled, there's actually this clear plastic insert, and you can pop this off. There's a tab on each side. We'll go ahead and just pop that off. And that allows us to expose all of our pins. And on here, it says to remove 3 of the pins on the rear of this. 2 of them are already blanked off with blank plugs. And it gives you the numbers. The numbers are number 16, 32, and also number 10. Number 10 has a wire in it. And if you look closely on the rear, you can see that all the numbers are displayed. So we'll go over to number 10, which is a black wire. We'll pop that out. Number 16 has a blue plug in it on the end right there. We'll pop that out. And also number 32 has a blue plug in it, and we'll pop that out. And then pin in our new connector here shortly. Got our dongle all in place. It's use now in. So what we're going to do is just route this dongle through our battery box and then go ahead and just plot the ECU in, start routing our O2 sensors, and then we're all done. Got the new ECU all in. It's a bit of a pain and a tight fit to get in there. You just have to be mindful of where the cables are routed and make sure that they're all tight in there. And also you really can't have any cables sticking out like we have over here, otherwise we won't be able to close the tray back on it. So I'm just going to tuck up those wires now and start the reassembly. And next we have the O2 wires to put in, which should be pretty easy. All right, so now we have our base tune loaded into the bike. We're gonna go ahead and set our rev limiter. We wanna lower it to increase reliability, less heat through the engine. Right now it's at 6208, so we're gonna put it down to just under 6,000, 5984, okay? So that's gonna set our rev limit. Let's see if there's anything else in here. All this looks pretty good. Good idle speed. Yeah, the rest of this should be good. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna write the module settings. It's going to do the same thing as like loading in a tune. We just wrote our new rev limiter into the ECU. So now that's all set. Here we go. Hopefully this doesn't make me enter all this manually. Okay, so the module auto tunes on. I just realized it's up at the top of the screen right here. We do not want to disable that. We want to leave that on. So we're good to go. We just set our rev limit. We have the auto tune set. I want to make sure our target air fuel ratio is correct, and then we're going to go ahead and fire it up and see what it does.
Let's take this bad boy out and see how she sounds. It definitely runs a lot better with a tuner on it. She's ready to go.
On here that should be set up differently, let me know.
Yeah.
We're going through the whole build on it.
Yeah.
It's so slippery. It's not his first rodeo. Pay no attention to the icy driveway. I'm so thrilled seeing him ride it, man.
Ribs for a sporty.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Thundermax.
Fair enough.
So sick.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just ride the front brake. You'll be good.
So it's just a tuner and a pipe, right? That's all you did to it, right?
That's crazy. That thing sounds
But dude, that's the best part. Is everybody thinks the Harley's gotta be like all this wicked crazy setup. Like, dude, we bought bikes. Tell a guy I'm gonna wheel it. He's like, "There's no way you're gonna wheel this thing." I was like, "Dude, I wheeled a guy's bike in the driveway, blew the taillight off, he knocked off $200. He wouldn't believe me.
That's awesome.